living like the winter do.
See me with the crew, had to get some food. I see you looking like you do. Had to make a move. Feel like gotta grow in a Jimmy Choo. Break the rules, no you're not a fool, but I'm in the mood.
What up, y'all? It's your boy, Nate Almighty, aka the Global Dark Skinny Ambassador, with something different from y'all today, man. We're gonna do a book review. And this book review is on How to Eat to Live by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, man. Let's clap it up. Now, the reason why I want to do a book review on this, I'm going to be making more book reviews moving forward, is because I'm going to be honest, this is the first book that I read from beginning to end and completed since prison. And I felt like a little bit ashamed of myself because I'm somebody who, every time I talk to my sons, I stress to them how important it is to read. But it's like I was being a hypocrite, you know. And my sons, they check out my channel from time to time, and I want them to see things like this and not just, you know, like war stories about women. I want them to be influenced to read without me directly telling them all the time, you know. And it's a shame because I did a whole lot of reading when I was in prison and when I was on Rikers Island. You know, I had read the autobiography of Malcolm X, 48 Laws of Power, The Art of Seduction, The Browder Files. I read like a lot of different kinds of books. You know what I'm saying? And I realized that it took me a decade to read a whole book again, and this is a lightweight book. You know what I'm saying? I was reading books like this thick, you feel me? And I'm back. I realized that rich people read, poor people don't. And I realized that if I want my sons to be a certain way that'll benefit them, I have to be an example. I can't just be talking. So without further ado, let's get into it, man. How to Eat to Live by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Now, first I want to say I am not a Muslim. I am not a Christian. I don't subscribe to no one particular denomination at all. However, as a black man, I will acknowledge the fact that the Nation of Islam have converted more black people to a positive lifestyle than Christianity or any other denomination. People who used to be Detroit Red and turned them into Malcolm X. Elijah Muhammad did that. He did that. Okay? So let's get into it. This book right here, legendary book. I'm just gonna wing it. I don't have no points, like no bulletin points. I'm gonna get better with this as I go. The next one will be more well thought about, but I just want to speak on how I feel about it and a lot of the important things that I learned from this book. I want to acknowledge the fact that this book is very similar to the teachings of the late, great Dr. Sebi. As far as Elijah Muhammad states in this book that we are mostly a fruit and vegetable based people. Mostly a fruit and vegetable based people, and a lot of this other stuff that we eating, we do not need. We do not need it all. You know what I'm saying? We don't need the nuts. Pause. And that reminds me of when Dr. Sebi, I watch a lot of Dr. Sebi videos and interviews, and he speaks on how, you know, like nuts are not that good for us. And he was saying that more recently than when this book came out. So there's a correlation with that. And I believe everything Dr. Sebi said until the day he passed. I definitely believe that. So the fact that this book has similar viewpoints as Dr. Sebi was great for me. It speaks about how we eat entirely too much. And that's because eating and being gluttonous has been commercialized solely for profit, solely for these corporations to be able to make money off of waste. Because think about a lot of things that we like to eat. Hot dogs. It's mostly the remains of, you know, like beef and pork after the more important things get made. Like that's mostly what that is, you know. A lot of waste from pork goes into things like gelatin and things that go into candy and other things like that. And I just like how it highlights that a lot of this stuff we don't need. I like how it stresses that we look at living to 60, 70, 80 as living a long time, when in all due reality, our people used to live 2, 3, 4 times as long. And the reason being is because we were outside. We were outside in the wild, making huts and things like that. We weren't trapped into 4 walls. 4 walls, which to me is mental and spiritual warfare. The fact that they even got us like this, when in nature we meant to be outside. You know what I'm saying? We meant to be outside, like sleeping under trees or sleeping on trees, like whatever. But we are disconnected from a lot of this stuff. We disconnected from a whole lot of this stuff, you know. And back when we was out in the wild, we didn't need to eat 2, 3 times a day. And now, including myself, you know, I catch myself, as long as I'm awake, I'm eating every couple hours, you know what I'm saying? I'm not fat. I wouldn't say that I'm fat, but I do see my stomach sticking out more than I would want it to stick out, you know what I'm saying? And I do see that there's clearly like side abs, and all I would have to do is eliminate all the sugar, all the extra bread, you know what I'm saying, from my diet, and I would look like, you know, a dark-skinned supermodel, you feel me? You know what I'm saying? I like how this book tells us that all we need to do is fast. All we need to do is eat as little as possible and only eat when we're really, really hungry. And we can live over 100 years. And I fully believe that. Because there's no way our people, before colonization, were eating 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day. There's no way if you look at all the pictures of our people back in the day, nobody was overweight. Nobody was overweight. Especially when we were outside in the wild, you know what I'm saying? We had a whole lot more important things to do than eat. You know, part of society domesticating itself, for lack of a better term. Part of society advancing, we got comfortable. We able to sit down and feel safe. When you feel real safe, you're gonna eat more. That's just a fact. But in all due reality, we had to do a lot of moving around all the time. You know what I'm saying? It may be crops that don't grow. It may be foreign invasions. It may be attacks from wild beasts, where you would have to pick up everything and move your entire family somewhere else. There's not time to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner and extra snacks during the day. You know what I'm saying? It just makes me look at a lot of things that we consider to be normal, which is absolutely incorrect for us to be doing. Like how we have our kids, we wake them up in the morning, we have them eat cereal, which is just a bowl of sugar with cow's milk, right? Which is the milk of another animal, which we do not need, right? And then if it's not that, it's pancakes and syrup, which is all bread, which turns into syrup once it gets into your body, and syrup. And it's like we give them almost no nutrition unless we're conscious of what we're doing. And I feel like that's a sad situation. We need to have more care and pay more attention to how we feed our children. And I'm gonna put a lot of this emphasis on the woman, okay? The women who are traditionally expected to cook for the children. We have to give our children more nutrition. it has to be both mother and father who agree to this and enforce this law in their house. Children are gonna spend more time with their mothers. If the mothers just wanna do whatever they wanna do, because they get lazy now, they wanna go to McDonald's and eat murder burgers, which probably contain human flesh and all this other wild stuff, then look at what we coming to. Then you wonder why we got our children running around acting like savages. And speaking of that, the number one food, right, that is prohibited in this book, the number one food that is encouraged for us to not eat is the pig. The pig, the swan, one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish, knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone, oops, out of time, my bacon smelling fine. Yeah, it's time to dub that. You know, me, I have a love-hate relationship with pork. Going into the new year, I'm dubbing everything that's pork. You know what I'm saying? Like yesterday for Christmas, I went to my mother's house and she was cooking chitlins. I was not in there very long. I was not in there. No, matter of fact, the day before Christmas, I was not in there very long. I never liked chitlins, but I did like the occasional fried pork chop. I do feel like bacon tastes good and smells good, but in all due reality, that's because they add all this extra sugar. I mean, not sugar, salt, sodium, and all these extra preservatives and all of that to make it last long. When in all due reality, it's not good at all. It's the most unhealthy meat. They speak on how the pig was grafted. It was grafted in order to help the white man learn how to treat itself of diseases, because it has so many diseases that this pig really was meant to be able to conduct experiments on, but somehow, some way, through commercialization, we eating it all the time, and we have whole holidays, whole celebrations dedicated to taking your time out to eat pig, like July 4th, which I feel like is a holiday where the most pork gets consumed, you know what I'm saying? But just talking about a lot of other things that we are allowed to eat, but we're not, and that we're not supposed to eat because it's too hard to digest for our stomachs, and it's basically slave food, which is nuts, seeds, not supposed to eat. They're for birds. It says how we not supposed to eat chicken like that. And the thing of it, are chickens really natural? Like, are chickens really natural? Like, are they really like a natural animal that was naturally created? Or were they really like some type of experiment as well? Because just like pigs, they'll eat anything you shove in their face. Natural animals, unless they're really forced and they're starving, they're not gonna eat what they're not supposed to eat, you know what I'm saying? But it also says that we ain't supposed to eat beef like that, but it's not like a forbidden food. It just should be cooked a certain way. It speaks about how bread, when it's first risen and it's fresh, it's hard on our stomach to digest, because once we eat it, you know what I mean, it goes into the body, and then it expands even more and things like that. And we should only eat wheat bread, and it's okay to let it get stale. Once it's stale, it's easier for us to eat. And I've eaten stale bread before in jail. It's not that bad. It's not that bad at all, you know what I'm saying? But I just like the information that's in this book. If you read this book, and even if you eliminate the Islam religious side of this, you can tell that this book was created by someone who really loves his people, for better or worse. Nobody is perfect. We know the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is not a perfect man. There's no such thing as a perfect man. But even though he's not a perfect man, does that mean we dismiss the message? We all know that R. Kelly has done some terrible things, but are y'all gonna stop listening to R. Kelly music? You're not. I'm not. So let's just keep it real about the situation. I'm gonna end this here. This was my book review of How to Eat to Live by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And I'm gonna end it here. Coming in the future with my book reports, my book reviews, it's gonna be way more well put together than this. This was the Ghetto Ratchet version, but y'all let me know what y'all think of this book. If you ever read this book, and please, if you like to read, refer to me some more books that I can read. This could be any kind of books, man. This could be fantasy type books. This could be books like this. This could be hood novels, anything. But I prefer to read books that deal with self-improvement, but refer to me anything. Thank you. Peace.